Welcome back. You're still watching Global Sports Reporting on Horizons with me, ABM. Now, 12 years. That's how long Nigeria has waited to lift a fourth AFCON trophy. And as the Super Eagles heads to Morocco 2025, the question is simple. Is this finally the year they chase down number 4? Eric Chell's 28-man squad blends firepower, fresh faces, and a high-risk decisions, and none bigger than in goal. In this report, we'll take a look at the Super Eagles squad list for December's AFCON and teams' chances. Nigeria's quest for a fourth African Cup of Nations title enters a fresh chapter in Morocco, with coach Eric Chell naming a 28-man squad that blends promise, risk, and redemption. After finishing as runners-up in 2024, the Super Eagles return, determined to end a 12-year wait for continental glory. The biggest uncertainty surrounds the goalkeeping position. Stanley Wabali, the hero of the last AFCON, remains a fitness doubt, leaving Nigeria to rely once again on Francis Uzoho, a choice that divides opinion. Uzoho's return is both a gamble and a shot at redemption. Chelsea's squad also ushers in new faces: Ryan Alebeosu, Igor Ogbu, and young striker Lawal Salim Fago. Midfield prospects Ebenezer Akinsomiro and Tochukwu Unadi join established names like Wilfred Indidi and Alex Iwobi. There are notable comeback stories too. Paul Onuachu earns a recall after a resurgence in Turkey, hoping to prove he belongs beside Victor Osimhen in a powerful Nigerian attack. Uzoho, likewise, gets another chance to alter his national narrative. But the list also features major omissions. Maduka Okoye misses out completely, and striker Terry Murphy is left out of the final squad. Decisions that increase the pressure on both the goalkeeping and striking units. Still, Nigeria's forward line remains one of the tournament's strongest. Osimhen leads an attacking cast that includes Ademola Lookman, Samuel Chukwueze, Moses Simon, Ako Adams, Chidera Ejuke, and Cyril Dessers. With captain William Strauss-Ekong's retirement from the national team, injury to Benjamin Frederick, who's been a revelation in the defense, Igor Ogbu, Ryan Alebeosu will need to step up and join the likes of Calvin Bassey, Shemi Ajayi, Bruno Oyemechi, and co in defense. Drawn against Tunisia, Tanzania, and Uganda in Group C, Nigeria faces a manageable but tricky path. Consistency and composure will be key. As the team heads to their camp in Egypt, the mission is clear: heal the wounds of 2024, silence the doubts, and mount a real push for a long-awaited fourth AFCON crown. Whether this squad can deliver remains to be seen. Well, the 28-man squad list for the Super Eagles heading to AFCON has been released, and naturally, it has brought divided opinions amongst pundits, fans, Nigerians alike. And joining us today to critically look at the Super Eagles' chances at the AFCON and also the chances of other teams is Usman Mustapha. Thank you so much for joining us on this show.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, we have a lot to discuss on this, and we'll look at the squad list, we'll look at Nigeria's chances. But when the squad list was released on Thursday, looking at it, the omissions, the inclusions, what ran through your mind? What did you consider looking at the chances of Nigeria?
When I saw that list, I didn't have a lot of expectations. I'm not even going to lie to you, because it's not like we have, take away Osimhen, it's not like we have some special players out there that were omitted from the squad. And but anyways, it raised eyebrows when I didn't see Maduka Okoye, knowing that he's been a regular at Udinese, playing very well, and you expect him to make it to the team, considering that our first choice goalkeeper currently, Wabali, is actually not fit, struggling with injuries. So I expected Okoye to make the squad, probably be the first choice at the tournament. But it seems like there is question marks everywhere, because we are not really sure what is happening. There's been a lot of reports about Okoye not making the squad because he was not guaranteed of being a starting goalkeeper at the tournament. And there are other reports where they said that he, the manager left him out because he was not convinced if he was going to make it to the side. Just, a lot of rumors here and there. nothing really convincing for the fans out there to actually hold. And I think that was a major problem. And he marked a return for Uzoho, who has not made the squad for quite some time now. And anyways, that same day the list came out, Uzoho actually had an excellent performance for his club side, his Cypriot side, against a Rapid Wien in the Conference League. You know, kept a clean sheet. And he made excellent display. But we've not seen Uzoho for a very long time. A tournament experience, he has it. Is he ever convincing? Absolutely not. Nwabali, who has debuted, just brought some sort of stability. He's not great. He's decent. Shot stop for penalties, I think, he's a really good goalkeeper. But he has not really convinced Nigerians who actually follow the Super Eagles, especially due to his antics and how he can get really distracted, attracting unnecessary yellow cards to his name and a whole lot of things like that. So I think for the goalkeeping department, for Amas, I've never seen him play. He plays in Singida, somewhere in Tanzania. This is Singida. And I think instead of calling an Amas or Basoke, you can probably bring a goalkeeper from the Nigerian league because goalkeeping is goalkeeping. The basic goalkeeping duties, our goalkeepers basically can do that for goalkeeping experience. So Amas Obasoge, I do not know why he gets called up. But I feel like this is a point where we would have seen Madu Kauye coming to the side and probably cement his position in the team, considering that Nwabali he's struggling with injuries at the moment. For the defensive line, Igo Ogbu is someone I had wanted to make the Super Eagles list for a very long time. I think he's okay. I think he's decent. But I saw the game in the Champions League where he caused a penalty. Players can have bad games, right? Players can have bad games. That's by the way. But I think the inclusion in his squad is a very good one. But I am not the biggest fan of Shemi Ajayi. We should be doing away with Shemi Ajayi. Shemi Ajayi is 36 years old. Shemi Ajayi has had a long spell in the Super Eagles. Shemi Ajayi is not the most convincing defender out there. Shemi Ajayi is not adding anything to the squad. I do not think we should be having a Shemi Ajayi. The young defender who plays at Last Cleans, who I thought was going to probably make it to the squad, they don't make it. I was disappointed. That boy was excellent in the under-20 setup, was scoring a lot of set pieces. And this is a tournament to introduce them, to give them experience. So that whenever they're coming to the Super Eagles team, they know what to expect. They know that the pressure and momentum can, is something they can just key in and, deliver excellent performances. That is by the way. Ryan Alebi also is someone I am really excited to watch. I've seen him a couple of times play for his side, Blackburn Rovers, and I think he's probably going to cement its starting bets at the tournament because we do not have an outright right back that can steal the show, that can just make the right spot his own. But I think Ryan is going to probably fit in as a right back, who is going to partner Calvin Bassey in defense, who I'm not certain about. Shemi Ajayi should not be partnering Calvin Bassey in defense. Shemi Ajayi cannot pass the ball. Shemi Ajayi is not convincing with the ball. Shemi Ajayi cannot give diagonal passes. I do not know what Shemi Ajayi knows how to do.
Good at holding the ball.
The game against Congo, let's go to that game.
What are the other good games he's had?
Does he have good games?
At the AFCON last year.
The setup actually, favored him where we were playing a 3-4-3, where 3 central backs. He was playing as the right side of central defense, which was actually really good, covered a lot of his flaws. That same setup actually helped Ekong as well play very well. I think that was a really good setup to actually protect, the defense we had, because before that tournament, we were bad defensively. There was a game we were winning 4-0, the opponent came from behind, we considered 4-4. We almost lost that game. I think that setup, Pesero knew that, okay, if I do not handle this team, it's going to be a big problem. So defensively, we were very good. Midfield not too decent, but the attack actually suffered. Osimhen, who was our top scorer before that tournament, could not score goals because he had to do a lot of running around. And Ademola Lookman, profited from it, which was a very good one for him, by the way. And I like that he's in form right now. But I do not think Shei Ajayi, in a 2-man defense, should be starting for us. He cannot play from the back. He cannot read, he cannot give breakthrough passes. He cannot even read when your opponent is trying to weigh him down. In the game against Congo, he could not play from the back. Once he holds the ball, you just know he's either giving it to Bassey or the goalkeeper. We do not need someone. He's 36 years. He has nothing to offer the Super Eagles. That is by the way. We'll go to the midfield. Ndidi, quality, experience, yes, deserve the call up. Onyeka should not be starting. Onyeka is a good player. Onyeka is a player, someone that can come from the bench and probably influence the game. I am surprised that the coach has not given Raf Onyedika the chance to be starting for us. I do not know why he has not done that. And because of the way he's treated Raf Onyedika, I do not think Akisamiro and Nade are going to get game times. I watched Nade at the under 20, when he was in under 20. I think he's really good ball carrier at that time. I think that time he was playing in Bulgaria. I'm not really certain. But right now he's playing the second division in Belgium, Zultewaregem. Not okay, decent output. But I think this is a tournament where we can give our players the exposure and January transfer window is just close by. With good performances in the national team, they can make good moves out there. But I think the inclusion of Akinsami Ronaldo is a very good one. But I do not think they're going to see a lot of minutes because I've seen how Pesero, Eric Sekochel has operated recently.
Okay, I would ask this question, right? Looking at the squad list, someone would say there's a lot of players making their Super Eagles debut at this tournament. We know last year, Wabali, Nigerians really got to know him last year when he played for Nigeria at the AFCON, integrating him just before the AFCON. And it's happening same now. But would you say there's just too many new names coming into the team in this crucial tournament?
I feel like the new names are even too small. This is the tournament where we should be phasing out some of the old legs and bringing in newer players. If you ask 10 Nigerians if we are going to win the AFCON, 9 are going to say, like, no, we are not going to make it. We are probably not going to win it. And the one person who's optimistic is just someone who wants the best for the country. Yes, a lot of Nigerians do not think we can win this AFCON. And I feel like this is a tournament where we should have given a lot of young players the chance. We do not make it to the World Cup. It should be a rebuilding phase. Bring young players out there. If they make mistakes, they're going to learn from it. Next tournament, the qualifiers and other things out there, they are going to blend. There's going to be some sort of chemistry. This is where it starts from. I do not think we are going to win this tournament. Because I'm being realistic. Yes. So I feel like there should be a lot of younger players. That's why I'm really disappointed in the fact that Semi Ajayi got the call up. He's 36. He's not supposed to be playing anymore.
Semi Ajayi isn't 36.
I think it's 34, 35, 36 or thereabout. I look at the team and I think we should be having
32.
32?
Yeah.
And it looks like, I think I've known him since forever. I've seen him play for West Brom. He started very early. Yeah. But I think he has nothing to offer the Super Eagles. I honestly do not think so. I feel like the likes of Akinsami Ronaldo, the young leg back that plays for Last Link should be making the tournament, young goalkeepers, young midfielders, and, except for the attacking lineup, I like that Salim Fago made to the list, but I do not really know much of him. I saw him in the youth level.
I would ask you a question, right? You talked about Salim Fago. Salim Fago plays in the second division in Croatia, right? Terry Murphy players like Terry Murphy, they were on the provisional list. Would you say a player who plays in the second division in Croatia is better than a player who's getting ample time playing in Europa League and literally playing game in, game out?
First, I would want to look at it from the coach's perspective. Okay. Maybe he wants younger players with desire who have something different to offer the national team. Terry Murphy has been getting call up to the national team. He has never really cemented the spot in the team.
He's never been consistent. He's never gotten consistent call up.
The thing is...
he had injuries.
The thing is, whenever Usman is not available, the guys who they call up to the deputies do not do anything. Aroko Dare, Victor Boniface, both did not make the squad. Cyril Dessers has not really been getting consistent call-ups, who I think is a decent player, should be getting a lot of game time, do not really get that. And a host of them like that. I want to look at it from the angle of the coach, from the coach's perspective, that the reason why he's calling a player like Fago is because he wants younger player with desire. But then again, you look at the top tier of the league, Victoria Pilsen, there's a Rafael Durosimi, who is playing for a top 3 side in the league, having a decent campaign, who's supposed to be getting the call-up, not selling Fago. Rafi Durosimi is about 21, 22. Good player. Almost same age as Salim Fago. Salim Fago decent. Playing for a second division side in Croatia. I do not think that there's a more difference in playing in second division in Croatia than playing in the Nigerian league, honestly. I'm not even going to lie to you. Probably the exposure, the amount of money you get paid with. For a player like Rafi Durosimi, you should be getting a lot of game time. I was expecting players like Ojeje, who plays for Lens, to be getting another, getting call up for the Super Eagles right now. But then again, we have almost, same regular players. And there is no definite creator on the side. I think the bulk of the creativity is being left for Alex Iwobi to actually come and create in the midfield. And the coach has not tried to look for anyone to do that. I can't even blame him. When the developmental part for our players from the youth teams up to the Super Eagles level has not been something to write home about. And it is down to the administration, the NFF, who has not helped to see that these players are well nurtured, and if they qualified for tournaments, after that, help them get decent clubs, or even help them, put them in some sites in the league. But they just, after tournaments, they abandon these boys who, fall into the hands of dangerous agents, take them to obscure leagues, and at the end of the day, we don't even know anything from them anymore. And I think that's what the problem is. We cannot continue to rely on players who play in top leagues out, play in Europe, to come and help us in the national side. A lot of times, we are begging players to join nationalities to come and play for us, when the NFF has not done anything in developing our young players here. The last players that went to under 17, where are they now? Have no idea. The ones that are playing under 20 have no idea, because there is no data to actually follow up if these guys are actually improving, if they have helped them secure good deals out there. I'll take it for example for Brazilian or Argentine football. When these players make it to the under 17 or under 20 and they play well, if after this tournament they ensure that these guys are spread across the leagues, teams in the league, Independientes of this world, the Estudiantes and the rest of them. And with that, they get a lot of game time and they come out there and represent their teams. That is how development works for these players. But for the Nigerian side there, after these players do not make, after the under 20 or under 17 World Cup, they do not do anything, they abandon them. Some of these players, it has to be for the agents who actually push extra hard and get them clubs out there. The NFF has not done anything to improve the team. That is why, for the bulk of creativity in national teams left for Iwobi to make. Aside that, Ebi, do you know any creative any player in the Super Eagles right now? Or in Europe who's supposed to get call up and did not get call up? Do you know anyone at all? We do not have them. We should have natural creators like the Okochas and the Orumas of this world. All were better from the Nigerian league. The Nigerian league now is nothing to write home about. Absolutely nothing to write home about. And it is down to the NFF and the league board. It is all of they are all to blame here. The reason why we do not have make any progress in Nigerian football is because of the fact that the administrators, has done every single thing to ensure that our football has remained at this level. In fact, it's even declining. You cannot even go to Nigerian league and play, okay, this guy is good, get him to the national team. You cannot even do that. When Obama made it to the AFCON in 2013, in 2011, it was a semi-final. He lost in the semi-finalist of the CAF Confederations Cup against MC Algiers. Semi-final. In 2012, in 2011, he lost the semi-final in CAF Confederations Cup. In 2012, he lost in the semi-final of CAF Champions League. He was playing for a Sunshine Stars side that were regulars in the CAF competitions. They were playing very well. So it was almost easy for Segregation to look at, okay, Bobo, a really good player. Come, bring it to the national team. He played well and he had a decent career in Europe after that. Umba, of course, had a decent career playing in Rangers, did very well. Went to Europe, but right now you cannot even look at the league and pick any player that's going to represent the national team. It's not like they're not good, but because they are not up to date, not in speed, not in quality, not in experience, not in exposure. It is down to the NFF and the league board as well. That is where the problem lies. So the players we've selected to go for the AFCON is the best we can actually take, but some of them are very, very questionable. Especially Usman Mohammed. In namesake. Usman Mohammed's last 6 transfers have been free transfer. Everyone remembers him for that excellent goal against Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Hey, he did like this, years
right?
ago.
Yeah.
Remember for that. After that time, I think he went to Barcelona B, did not make anything there. And his last 6 transfers were free transfers. All in the 2nd division in Israel. This is the player calling to come and play for the Super Eagles. How old is he? He's 31. I shake my head. I shake my head.
Now,
It's embarrassing.
so many have actually talked about the squad list and looking at Nigeria's Group C. They're going to be taking on teams like Tanzania. That's the first game. Then there's Tunisia and there's Uganda. Some may call it manageable. Others may call it tricky because we've seen small teams cause upsets. Last 2 years, we saw different degrees of upsets. Mozambique, Comoros giving upsets. What are the odds? Because looking at this squad, we know that before the 2028-man squad was released, we knew that Nigeria was already missing players like Ekong, Benjamin Fejic, and they had to make do with replacements and all. But now looking at this squad, looking at the group Nigeria is in, what are Nigeria's chances?
Well, ideally, on paper, we should be qualifying from that group. On paper. We look at big names and you think, okay, the categories of Tunisia, Super Eagles are supposed to qualify ahead of even Tanzania and Uganda, right? But then the African football has actually changed. Tanzania, for quite some time now, has actually had a decent team, decent local league, where even Simba and young Africans, young Africans and Simba have actually had good tournaments in CAF competitions. They've been playing very, very well. And the core of the national team are going to come from these teams. These guys have chemistry, really good understanding, and depends on what the coaches mix with that. The exposure of the Tunisian and the Nigerian side means that they have just a slight advantage. They can make technical decisions, technical fouls to actually win these games. But on paper, I think we can qualify. But then in reality, these are questionable. We struggle we did not beat Zimbabwe in 2 legs to qualify for World Cup. We were struggling against Lesotho. Benin Republic was, a bone on our neck. You look at the games we failed to win that didn't make us qualify for the World Cup, and look at the group we find ourselves. Some of these teams didn't even qualify for the Nations Cup. Lesotho did not qualify for the Nations Cup. Zimbabwe did not qualify for the Nations Cup. So I think it is, for Eric Sekuchel, I think he's biting his fingers and wondering if probably you could have a different degree of players, quality players he can actually play. But we have really good players, really okay players. The best of them is of course Usman, who I feel is really heartbreaking that he's he's in a generation of Nigeria where people around him are not on his level. Back in the day, you could see players who are almost in similar level with their top maximum. But right now, Usman is level above everyone else. Oh, not to disrespect Ademola Lookman. Ademola Lookman has been very good, but he has been quite inconsistent. Yeah, that's why I put him in the other bracket. But the rest of them are not really good enough. And I hope, Chel deploys a different formation and how to actually win them. Because against Congo, it was clear that he can be out of his depth. He can struggle with substitution. He can maybe go berserk and not even know what to do. And we have centre backs coming to play penalties and skying the ball. Hopefully, we do not find ourselves in that situation anymore, because I do not trust him in critical situations to make really good decisions for us while the game is on.
I ask you, we'll go back to the goalkeeping position, right? Let's paint this scenario. We have to be realistic, even if we have to be optimistic as well as Nigerians, right? Maduka Okoye is out. So the goalkeeping position has the likes of Uwabali, Uzoho, and Amas Obasoge. Now, we know that Uwabali is struggling with fitness. He's racing against time, so he won't be fit for this particular tournament, as his coach has already come out to say that he's not fit. Should Uwabali not be fit? Will Nigeria's first choice goalkeeper be Uzoho? Is this a chance for him to redeem himself, or is this just a risk going into the tournament as a whole? Because why is Maduka Okoye, who's proven himself in Europe's top flight, not invited?
I think if Uwabali can not be the race to get fit before our first game,
Nigerians are begging him, right?
then I think it's just clear that Uzoho is going to actually be in between the sticks right there. I think it's just clear. But the thing with goalkeeping is that the older you get, the better you become. As in most cases, the older the goalkeepers get, the more experience they get, the more convincing they are in between the sticks. And I hope this is going to be the same situation for Uzoho as well.
Yeah.
Nigerians have written him off. Nigerians do not even want to see him. And when he made the squad, most people online, the reactions, they were leaving. They could not believe their eyes. That how is Okoye not making the squad and Uzoho is making the squad? And no one is even talking about Amas Obasoge. No one has actually seen him play for the Super Eagles. We do not even know if he has any quality whatsoever. He's good, he's professional, yes, but is he good enough for the Super Eagles? There are levels to that. There are times when we could, go to the local league and, there is always a Dele Ayenuba. There is, Vincent Inyama. There is Austin Ejide. These guys were in the Nigerian league. They were convinced we knew that, okay, bad as he bad, somebody's going to come in. I remember the AFCON in 2010. Ejide was Austin Inyama from the Super Eagles squad. The then coach was making sure Ejide was seeing games for the Super Eagles, and Inyama was on the bench. This is exactly how the kind of quality you want. Not really the best per se, but you know that this could actually give a decent cover. But right, we do not even have that. We don't even have a decent goalkeeper right now. We don't even have that. The last time we actually had a really good goalkeeper was Kali Keme, and sadly it was he was out with leukemia, and we struggled for a long time. And we were having Ezenwa come in, and other goalkeeper, and there's this other goalkeeper that was from the Nigerian league that time. A bit, oh God, we've suffered. Honestly, we've suffered. But I think this is where the NFF needs to look at themselves and know that they are doing a terrible job. They've not done anything in improving the local football in the country. Grassroots football has been totally abandoned. We do not even think there's any player at any level that can actually, that's a potential to play for the Super Eagles. These guys just go there, they play anything, and they leave them to their fate. It is really sad. It breaks my heart. Most of the time, the cross of the job is really left for the coaches to go out there and try to scout players to come and help cover, a position that is leaking. Mm-hmm. The NFF has not done anything to help our football progress at all. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And look at all of the allegations being labeled against them. They have not come out to actually, debunk these claims. Nothing they've actually done. This is an eye-opener, by the way. And after this tournament, I think we are going to have some really serious conversations.
Well, we'll see how it goes at the AFCON for Nigeria. But we'll still have more discussions on this. We head for a quick break. When we return, we have a lot more for you. Stay with us. Welcome back here onto the final segment of Global Sports Reports here on Rise News. Now, the stage is set for African football's biggest showpiece as 24 teams touch down in Morocco very soon for the African Cup of Nations. From packed stadiums to electric atmospheres, the continent's finest stars are ready to battle for glory as AFCON takes center stage once again. Last year, we saw glory in Ivory Coast, hosting so many nations, 24 nations and fans from all over the world coming into Cote d'Ivoire. And this time out, it will be Morocco, who this year have hosted several world tournaments, from the AFCON to under 20, so under 17, so many tournaments being hosted there. And once more, they host the biggest showpiece in Africa. Usman, still in studio with me, from stadiums to enough hospitality and everything for Morocco. Now, I love expectations coming in, but teams will want to go into Morocco for glory. And obviously, I think before we go into this, what are your expectations from Morocco, from the Morocco AFCON?
I mean, they've set the standard really high, hosted world tournaments, in recent years. And I think it's going to be an excellent tournament. The host nation, they know how to put a spectacle out there. So I'm expecting nothing but an extraordinary tournament. So I think for the host nation, I give it up to them. And, knowing how cultural and how beautiful the AFCON is, with all of the banter
Diversity.
and all of the diversity, all of the beauty that comes with the tournament, I think it's something everyone should look forward to. Coupling the fact that the exact period where this tournament is hosting, from the Christmas down to the New Year period, how bubbly it is on the continent. So I think this is one of tournaments where you always look forward to, and even after the tournament is done, you want to look back and be like, yeah, you are reaching this exciting tournament. So yeah, I think Morocco are up to it, and the teams who are going to the tournament are going to give us something to enjoy. Well,
we already have teams arriving in Morocco. Uganda, Nigeria's group, they've already arrived Morocco. Well, they do not have a lot of foreign players, obviously, so they are there. And some Nigerian players will resume from Tuesday. Obviously, we'll see players resuming Morocco in camp, some in Egypt where they play the friendly and all of that. Now, looking at this, a lot of expectations. So many want to know who are the favorites, who's going to be the dark horse, who's going to be the loser, because we obviously see upsets. In this tournament, while we look at the favorites for the tournament, so many could say Morocco the host, some say Algeria, some say Senegal. But for you, Usman, who do you think is favorite?
I think the host nations are favorites. They are a really good team. They are solid. They know how to win games. We saw at the last World Cup where they took it a step closer, and the fourth place team in the world, a really excellent one. They beat some tough teams heading to that that level of the tournament. And even at the last AFCON where they got knocked out by Egypt, the previous other one where they got knocked out by Egypt, you tell there was something special about them. Ashraf Hakimi, of course, who has been out injured, has been listed in the squad. Hopefully, he's going to be fit for the tournament. But I see them all round. Their football development has been spectacular. Look at some of the best teams around. There's a Moroccan playing here and there. And I think with that, with the Regragui, the manager has been there, for about 3-4 years now. He knows the team in total. He knows the best players to actually make available, and he has a plethora of stars who are playing for different teams in different places to actually select from. And I think Morocco, being host nation, backed by their home fans, with all of the balls going to this tournament, are probably the host nation to win. But the AFCON, the host nations can get bundled up by a random team you would never expect. It happens every single time. It's just once in a while where the host nation can make it really, really far. Even at some point where Ivory Coast were host nation, they lost first game, lost second game, everyone had beaten them off before they actually did a remontada, went ahead to win the tournament. But for Morocco, if they do not do their primary duties properly, they one random team upset them. But aside Morocco, and that team to look at is Senegal. They're a really good team, a lot of young players with experienced players in the side, and I think they are going to pose a really good threat. They're one of those teams you see against, you look at like, okay, these guys are star-studded, quality players all around. You see the players playing for really top teams everywhere. For dark horses, I'm not sure to select either between Tunisia or South Africa. Yes, I'll go for South Africa. South Africa are dark horses. Hugo Broos won the AFCON with Cameroon in 2017, where he dropped some of their best players, went to some random players, went out there and won the tournament. They defeated, tournament favorite at that time, Senegal, to go ahead to win that tournament. Last AFCON, they made it to the semi-finals. Third best placed team in the tournament. This year, the ahead of Nigeria, they qualified for the World Cup. And right now, with a core of, players playing the local league, from Melody Sundowns and Orlando Pirates, and in Kaizer Chiefs, you can tell that this guy knows his thing about African football. It probably, might be another Javier Renard, who knows. But I think South Africa are dark horses at this tournament.
I'll ask you a question, right? The last two teams, that's Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire, that were in the finals of the last AFCON, it seems they've gone through their own issues because, for instance, the MVP for the last AFCON, that's Ekong, retiring. Also have Olaino, who was on the shining lights, not in this particular tournament. We have so many players who are not who were part of the last tournament and not part of this tournament. For Cote d'Ivoire, a player like Nicolas Pepe, who's the controversy that he went through in the last 2 weeks before his omission from the Ivorian list. Would you say this could be a problem for Cote d'Ivoire going into this tournament? They still have so many players who were in a squad the last time out, though.
Yeah, I was particularly surprised that Sam Adingra did not make the squad. I was particularly surprised that he didn't make the squad. But there's a young Ivorian out there, Diomande, who's been playing excellently at Leipzig. And I think that's like a perfect replacement. I'm not even going to be surprised if he's actually probably if they excel and go very far, makes it the young best player at the tournament, because that young man is really good. Just a couple of seasons ago, he was playing in Ivory Coast. Right now, he's in Europe, tearing it apart in Leipzig and in the Bundesliga. And I think that's going to be like a perfect replacement for Adingra, who's not really much of a goal scorer per se, and who has not really had a good start to his Sunderland career. For Nicolas Pepe, the admission was a shocking one. He's their best player in Europe right now, their most informed player as well. And I feel like sometimes sporting decisions should remain sporting decisions, and other distractions should be handled professionally. And if you allow some of these statements about a player's, preference on issues, get into the selection in national team, it can be a very, very big problem, by the way. And I see that some persons have actually come out in support of him, telling him, but some statements he made were not really, really good ones, calling one of his teammates that the guy wasn't originally an Ivorian. And I think that's a very disrespectful statement, and probably one of the reasons why he was dropped from the squad. But Faye, because I think they had a good World Cup qualifier as well. They had really good tournament where the manager, Faye, has been with them, done very well. And I do not think they can retain the title. I honestly do not think that. They're a good, excellent young squad, but I do not think they can retain the title. And anyways, just like Nigeria, we'll just be observing how far they can go in this tournament.
Well, still on this, Mo Salah would want to make a statement. He's already made statements on different occasions at the AFCON, though he's never won it. In 2017, he was in the finals. 2022, he was in finals. That's against Senegal, where they lost out. But to really etch his name as an Egyptian football hero, because he's a football legend, no doubt. But when you think about Egyptian football, what runs through your mind first is Abu Traika, Hussam Hassan, Fati. These kind of players have shaped El Hadari, shaped the Egyptian football. Do you think there's a chance? Because right now they have some players in Nantes, they have a player in Manchester City, that's Omar Mamouche. They have some players. Do you think this is the Egyptian squad that could win the AFCON?
First of all, let's look at Salah's influence in the national team. I think his rise came at the point where Egyptian football struggled, really struggled. They were after winning the AFCON in 2010. Egypt went consecutive tournaments where they did not qualify. They had they had some crisis in the country. Their league was not really functioning properly, and the rise of Salah actually brought life back to Egyptian football. Took it to another level, and with that, he's actually gone to 2 AFCON finals. Unfortunately, he has lost. So I think he has actually done enough, given with what he has and how much he has actually, given the Egyptian football under rebate. Before him, they had not gone to the World Cup in 30 odd years. He qualified them for another World Cup. So it shows you how much of an impact he's actually had. Him winning the AFCON or not does not take away the fact that he's one of the greatest ever players to come off Egypt. He's not even the greatest. Abu Chika, yes, has consecutive AFCONs where he won. Fati even won in 98 before he even won in the late 2000s as well. But I think Mo Salah winning an AFCON is going to etch his name as the greatest player in Egyptian football history. Because the spectacle, the amazing thing he's done out there, he's one of the best ever players to ever play in the Premier League, in the top 5 league. You can never take that away from him. Before then, it was Mido and Amirizaki who had short stints in the Premier League that made a name for themselves. But Salah played at that top level, dominated teams, scored spectacular goals, won tournaments in a top side. For the Egyptian side, unfortunately, he's lost 2 AFCON finals, and that cannot take anything away from him. Just like Didier Drogba, never won the AFCON, but it's regarded as the greatest player to play in the Ivory Coast. A lot of people even rate him higher than Yaya Toure, who won AFCON, African Ball of the Year 4 or 5 times, won the African Cup of Nations as well. But Didier Drogba still actually has the higher reference over Yaya Toure. But then again, you see the impact to your teams. Before that period, before Drogba came to the limelight, the Ivorian side were a yo-yo team. They were not really that side, but his presence gave birth to a lot of young, exciting players who wanted to play for him and actually win tournaments. You understand? So that was at the level Drogba raised at. So that's what a lot of fans out there acknowledge. And I think that's almost a similar thing that Mo Salah has done for the Egyptian national side.
Well, we've talked about teams that could be the favorites, and we've you even listed South Africa, listed who else?
Senegal,
Morocco. Where are you going to put Nigeria?
I
It's a country.
Well, let's just watch. You know, when there are no expectations for me. I have to be honest. There are no expectations for me. I think, can we go ahead and win the tournament? Yeah, it is an AFCON team. The most unexpected team can go there and win this tournament. It has happened. Zambia from nowhere went to win it. Cote d'Ivoire won it. We've seen Mali lose a semi-final. Burkina Faso has lost in the final as well. So you can never really predict this tournament. Some of the best names can go this tournament and just flop. The last AFCON, who was the top scorer? A guy who was playing right back in the second division in Spain. For his Equatorial Guinea, was the top scorer in the tournament. What the AFCON is something different, something special. It is very unpredictable. You can never really tell this is what's going to happen, this is how it's going to turn out, because there's always going to be a shock, a big, massive surprise out there, and the random teams begin and knocking out big teams. Ghanaians could not believe their eyes when Comoros knocked them out of the AFCON a couple of years ago. They could not believe their Comoros. Who knows Comoros? No. So that's the spectacle AFCON gives you. It is very unpredictable, it's quite spontaneous, and it's an amazing. I think that's the beauty of the tournament, where you cannot really pinpoint one team to go out there and dominate and win. Even if you go ahead and win, you are going to sweat for it.
Like, you're talking about sweating for it, right? If you look at the last 3 AFCON winners, right? Algeria won in 2019, and after that, they've really not struggled. They've struggled. Senegal won, and last year they were knocked out in the round of 16. And this time out is Cote d'Ivoire. Do you think this is a precedent that has been set? Because it's almost the same thing as the World Cup, barring France. Do you think
it probably might happen, it might happen, because the tag of being defending champions actually gets to you. The opponents coming up against you are going to be at their absolute best. They will watch you very well, know how to take you down, and you're going to struggle. If you are not mentally and psychologically ready to actually face your opponent, you see yourself getting knocked out, because your opponent, everyone was coming out against you, okay, we're playing against the defending champions, all eyes are going to be on us, the world is watching, and we have to prove our game. And this is actually where the pressure gets to the defending champions, and sometimes they get knocked out. It has happened. The Italies of this world, the Spains of this world, the France of this world, all were victims of incidences like this. And I think if it happens to everyone, I'm not going to be surprised. Absolutely not going to be surprised at all.
Well, thank you so much, Usman, for your time on the show today.
You're welcome.
Well, it's been an exciting one year on Global Sports Report on the Rise News. I'm ABMO. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.